Hello there, my beautiful pumpkins, and welcome back to the pumpkin patch. If you are new here, hello, my name is Kloee Taylor, and on this channel, I believe we have one of the most cozy, vibey, autumnal corners of the internet. So if you like my style, you like the way that I read, you like what we do here, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button and become a member of the pumpkin patch. Hello, my beautiful pumpkins, and welcome to this pick a card. Oh my goodness, I haven't uploaded a pick a card in a minute, and it feels really good to be back and to be here. And I'm so happy. Today's video is actually in collaboration with 9 3/4 Tarot, or That's Carissa, and I'm very excited for you to see what we have planned. So her video, which I will be linking down below, is going to be all about what are your powers. And my video, the original, I don't know what I've titled this. I've probably titled it something that makes the algorithm happy. But what we are doing basically is we are channeling your inner witch. And even if you do not identify as a witch, this is really about just what your inner knowing or your inner wisdom is trying to tell you, because the word witch just means wise, and intuition, it's just your intuition. And those are all coined phrases from Mia Magic is where I originally heard those things from. But that is what I'm going to be channeling for you today using these symbols. So pile number 1, you are going to correspond with this symbol. Pile number 2, you are going to correspond with this symbol. Pile number 3, you are going to correspond with this symbol. And pile number 4, you will correspond with this symbol. That is right, my friends. She did a 4-pile reading today. So I will be giving you some meditation music in just a moment to sit with these and decide which one calls out to you. Please know that you'll never choose wrong, and that if you feel called to more than one, it is highly likely that they are linked. So maybe watch both. And before we get into the meditation, I just want to talk a little bit more about 9 3/4 Tarot. And she just goes by 9 3/4, or That's Carissa. But for some reason, every time I go to like pull her up on YouTube, I always search 9 3/4 Tarot. So in any case, she is another creator here on YouTube who makes amazing pick-a-cards. Like the things that she uses for her like significators, she's just always doing so many creative things. And I think that's what I admire about her channel the most. Not only is like the content great and the readings are fantastic, I really think you're going to like her, but I love the different selector options that she always puts into her readings. And I also want to give a special thank you to her because y'all have been seeing, I've been putting out a lot of shorts, a lot of TikToks, a lot of reels. I've been really trying to step up my short form content game. And I honestly don't think that I could have done that without the little like extra encouragement that she gave me to go for it. So thank you so much to her for helping me to just get that little extra push of encouragement to do something that was a little bit outside of my comfort zone. And I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope that it really comes to you when you are in the right place to hear it, because I think there is such wisdom. I've actually already recorded all of the piles when I'm sitting here doing the intro. So, which like, I never do it that way. So I like know all of the wisdom that came through in these. And I just know that this is going to be an impactful reading for you. So please leave me a comment down below and let me know how you felt about it. I would love to hear from you. And don't forget after this video to go over to 9 3/4 channel and make sure that you listen to her reading as well. I love you so much, pumpkin. Now on to the meditation music. All right, y'all. So if you chose this pile, you would have chosen this symbol, which corresponds to the element of air, or excuse me, the element of earth. I said air because the cards that we have for you initially, which we have a lot more as well, the cards that we pulled initially have a lot of air symbolism to them, which remember, the word witch just means wise. So, what your inner wisdom is trying to tell you right now is that number one, with the King of Swords, the Knight of Swords, the Seven of Wands, it's funny to me that you would choose a symbol that's based off of the element of earth because the earth is very grounded, right? It's literally the ground. It's very grounded. And I get the sense that you live really in your mind because the King of Swords and the Knight of Swords, both of these tell me that you have a lot of high intelligence, but you also really are very cerebral. You really live in the mind. And this can be a beautiful thing because it can unlock your genius, your highest potential, but it also has the ability to run away with itself. And the reason why I say that is the Seven of Wands tells me that you are somebody that is like chronically over explaining yourself. You over explain yourself to people in every single little thing that you do. You're always trying to explain, make people understand. And spirit and your inner wisdom is actually wanting you to acknowledge that it's okay to want to converse. It's okay to want to communicate. And you, I honestly believe, are like a communicator of the highest caliber because you don't get the King of Swords unless you are excellent at communication. And it doesn't mean that like every relationship runs smoothly. It's that you are just really good at intelligently explaining things to others. This is a strong suit of yours. And I can't say with 9 3/4 tarot, like she's going to be talking to you about what your powers are. So this reading could correspond over there. I would love to hear about it down below if it does. But I really feel like you are somebody that your strength actually comes with being able to communicate. And maybe that is a wounding for you, that people have told you you aren't good at communicating, or that maybe you, again, you over explain. And the thing is, you can be an excellent communicator, but when you have an imbalance with it, you will over explain yourself to death. Like you will, every little thing you do, you're always ready to be judged or picked apart. And so the Seven of Wands tells me that like you're always ready to be persecuted. You're always ready to be put down or put out or thrown out. And because of that, you constantly go to bat for yourself, even if you're doing it in a nice way. It doesn't mean you're yelling. You know, you could be just, nobody even asks what you're doing, and you're, oh, I'm doing this because of this and this and this and this, because you don't want somebody to ask and you to have to feel uncomfortable explaining. Like you just go out of your way to do it. And Spirit is really saying with this that you can be confident in your ability to communicate when spoken to. You don't actually have to go out, excuse me. You don't actually have to go out of your way to explain yourself to others. And this actually might be an inner like witch wounding, because when we talk about the inner witch, the witch wound is where, like, possibly even in a past life, you could have gone through the time period where witches were being persecuted, where healers were being persecuted. And it's literally like having to over explain what you're doing because it was life or death back then. So that to me is very much the energy of the Seven of Wands. And this is something that can still live within you, especially if you come from an ancestral line where that was present in your ancestry. This is something that will get passed down, even if it's not you covering up your craft, whether you practice or not. This can be more about covering up. This can be more about like covering up anything that you do, covering up and trying to like over explain so you're not literally persecuted to death is really the vibe that we're getting here. So we have meditation for clarity. And we also have connect with Gaia. So these are just kind of words of advice is how they're coming through is you might want to meditate in a forest if you have the ability. Now you might not live by the forest. Maybe you live in the desert, right? Maybe you live in the snow. Maybe you live where there's ocean and no forest. Maybe you live in a bunch of cornfields, right? There could be so many places, but there is connection to Gaia everywhere. The moment you step outside, you have the ability to connect, whether it's snowing on the ground or sizzling hot outside. There is connection to Gaia. Even if you're indoors because it's pouring rain, you can sit at a window and be with Gaia as it's happening and connect with her. It's you really have strong intuition for picking this pile. Like your intuition, if you will, was really here trying to be like, pick the earth symbolism. Here's a card telling you to connect with Gaia. Because again, being really cerebral and living up in the sky all the time, which is what our intellect corresponds to the element of air. So being up in the air all the time, you have to come back down. Me and my husband actually have the joke that I'm the kite and he is like the thing that like holds the kite. He is like the person or the rock or the paperweight that holds the kite because I would just run away with myself if not. Like he helps me to be such a grounding force in my life because I'm very cerebral as well. I have a lot of ideas. I'm always up in the mind, thinking and analyzing. And for you, this is something that is really beautiful. But again, if we don't ground any of those ideas into the earth, they don't have the potential to grow seeds. They don't have the potential to grow plants from seeds if we're not taking those things down into. I'm sorry if this is coming out really disconnected right now. I am literally like, I haven't channeled in a while. I've kind of taken a break. If you've noticed on my channel, I've done a lot of podcasting and not a lot of this. And I feel like spirit is just like trying to tell me so many things at the same time that I am genuinely very apologetic if this is coming through like really broken up, because I feel like there's so much trying to be channeled because I haven't done it in so long that I feel like this reading also is just going to reach all of the right people. So in any case, you have to ground any ideas. The message that I'm hearing is you have to ground any ideas that you're having through the mind into, you have to put them into physical action steps into the world. Your inner wisdom is saying you need to do something about the ideas. And if you're not sure and you're needing clarity on how and like what the next step is, meditation for clarity is going to be it. And I always want to encourage you, meditation doesn't have to look like being a monk and sitting on a mountaintop. I know that that is what today's world and spiritual people will try to teach you. You have come to the right person if you're somebody that doesn't like to do that, because I also do not like to do that. And I have had to find a multitude of other ways to practice meditation. And my favorite, truthfully, just I'm going to throw this out there right now for you because it might help somebody. This is not sponsored. I mean, this video is sponsored by Native, or no, this video is not sponsored. We already put a different video out for Native, but hashtag love Native. This video is not sponsored, but with meditating, the thing that has helped me is mindfulness. And if you have a hard time with mindfulness, there is an app and you can get 2 weeks free of it if you just sign up. And if you don't like it, you can delete it after that. I loved it so much that I ended up paying for it out of pocket. But the Superhuman app, it is a meditation and mindfulness app, but it's not like any other meditation app that I've ever used. It has like walking meditation, preparing for Christmas dinner with family meditations. There are getting ready in the morning meditations. There's doing your nightly skincare meditations. There are practicing things as your future self meditations. There's pep talks for when you need them. Like this app is really like the all-inclusive to mindfulness, in my opinion. And even if you're somebody that has practiced meditation and mindfulness and you think you know it all, I promise you, this app is different. To me, it's very rooted in like Joe Dispenza's work. If you're familiar with Joe Dispenza, it's very similar to that. And Joe Dispenza's work to me is phenomenal. It's like nothing that I think a lot of the Western world has seen today. And truly, when I have been stuck in a rut, it has been that app that has helped pull me out. So try it out. Even if you think you're a master meditator and you maybe are like feeling like this is resonating with you, this might be your call to check it out. If not, discard, leave take what resonates, leave the rest. So we also have for you the element of fire and Leo. So Leo is actually a fire sign, which I think is really cool. What your inner wisdom is also trying to communicate with you is that, again, there has to be some action behind what is so cerebral for you. There is something in your life that there might even be a multitude of things that you are not taking action on. Maybe a few months ago, you were really invested, really into it, and now you just haven't been taking that same action anymore. And here's the thing. When you have a dream for your life and you're excited and jazzed about something, don't get me wrong. I think it's okay to pivot. I think it's okay to change if it doesn't call to you anymore. But something I need you to know that Spirit is confirming in me to tell you is that when it comes to inspiration, you're not going to be motivated every single day. It is impossible, literally, for that to be real. And you have to be the person that shows up with the discipline. And I don't mean discipline like hurting yourself to do something. That is not discipline. Discipline is when you give yourself loving, gentle guidance on how you are going to proceed and sticking to even small actionable steps. That to me is true discipline. When you are, even if you show up and you don't really want to and you'd rather just like kick back, watch Netflix, do whatever. Don't get me wrong. Again, I'm not trying to demonize Netflix to you. I love TV just as much as the next person. But I do feel that sometimes the way that we experience like the compound effect, where literally one action step leads to the next, it's the same way when you're not doing anything. It's the same way. If you start to get into the habit of, I'll give you examples from my own life, okay? When I get into the habit of having a couple of glasses of wine every night, watching TV or YouTube is my thing. I'll watch YouTube all day, every day, like constantly in my analytics, looking and searching for like, I don't even know what. I'm just like looking for inspiration. YouTube definitely tends to be the place I will spend the most time, but for you, it might be some other form of entertainment. Maybe it's TikTok, maybe it's Hulu, Netflix, cable TV, there's all these forms of distraction. And again, don't get me wrong, ritualize your TV time. I'm a firm believer in still giving yourself that time. And it's a great way to practice loving yourself when you give yourself that time. However, your inner wisdom is saying that you are not taking enough action and you're experiencing a compound effect where you have taken such a lack of action. And I know that this is hard to swallow and I'm sorry, please don't like hurt the messenger. I'm just telling you what I'm being told. There is such a lack of action that it is also a compound effect where it builds over time and then you are taking less and less and less action. And now suddenly you don't know how to dig yourself out of that rut and you just want to like do nothing every single day and nothing sounds pleasurable and everything feels wrong. And granted, it's okay to slow down. It's okay to slow down at multiple times throughout your life. We are not meant to be on every single day, motivated every single day. However, Spirit is saying that there isn't enough creativity happening and there's definitely not enough action happening. And you have let yourself kind of fall into this continuous thoughts are just like spiraling. And on top of that, it's like you're just sitting and being cerebral instead of allowing yourself to not just like, this isn't to me even about body movement. Because I think in some way, like we can tap into the body, right? We can come back to the body. This isn't just about like body movement. This is literally about, writing in your journal 3 pages a day. Try it for a week. It'll change your life. Promise. This is creating art, setting aside time and being disciplined in creating it. If you want to create a business, this is being disciplined and saying, hey, on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 4, I'm going to work on my business every Tuesday and Thursday and making that a non-negotiable. I promise you, magic has the ability to happen in your life when you give yourself discipline. And again, I don't think it has to be you cracking the whip over yourself and hurting yourself to do it. But I do think that loving discipline in small actionable steps is really what is missing. And Spirit keeps saying that to me, actionable steps, small actionable steps. So it's not about doing everything all at once overnight, but this is something that is missing from your life right now, especially in creativity as well, because Leo is the sign of creativity. Now, we also have for you, these cards are just kind of like whatever cards. Like they're not meant to have like a specific indication. We're just going to see what they say and see what Spirit wants to tell us about them. So we have Rainbow. The most difficult part of the situation is over. So if you've been feeling down, if you've been feeling like really in your head, really like everyone's judging you, even if no one is judging you, Spirit is saying that the most difficult aspect of this is already done. You've already been through the hardest part of this current situation. And it may have even really peaked over the Libra new moon that we just had. If you're watching this when it goes out, it may be peaked over that time because we had a lot of planets in retrograde and that new moon was harsh. She was not cute. She was mean. So it may be peaked over that time and you might have had like a few hard days or like a few hard weeks leading into even more hard days. But just know that the worst of it is over. We have woman, dealings or relationship with a woman. So this could be, you know what's funny? I immediately heard mom, but I also heard dad. Even if I know we're getting woman, I really heard like parents though when I put this down. So I feel like this is about your parental figures. Like there's maybe a parent that has really like made you feel like this is impossible or like dealings with dealing a relationship with a woman. It also could be, I'm hearing like maybe an old friend as well, like a past friend who has like gotten in your head that has made you also like, it's kind of like exacerbated the terrible things that you feel about yourself. Like you definitely have some like, if it's a friend, I do feel like it is a female friend. And this is why I was talking to y'all about the witch wound, because I really do believe that through our own ancestral lines, many of us, we still see like woman against woman, sister against sister, because of that original witch wound that was created, where back when like the Salem witch trials and things were going on, you literally could like they like forced women against women, basically. They forced the feminine against the feminine and made people out each other. And ever since then, notice how in today's world, not everybody, some people have figured it out and have really like intimate, close-knit relationships with women. But I feel like the bulk of us kind of have this, other women are scary or like bad, or can we trust them? Or there's also this like societal consent to like women are deceitful, or there's definitely still a lot of that in today's world. And it's really unfortunate because there's literally no difference between I think there are women who are deceitful. There are also men who are deceitful. There are people who are deceitful. It's not meant to be a gendered thing, or it doesn't matter what your it doesn't matter. Like that shouldn't matter. But I am hearing specifically for this feels very much like the sisterly witch wound. Like it's other, maybe in your past, it could be like women in childhood. It could be, again, even a maternal figure now, or somebody you met later. Like, especially if there's a repeating or reoccurring cycle, Spirit is saying, with the feminine in your life. This is something that it's come from there. And then we have heart, love, deep affection, caring. And we also have weeping willow, family sorrow. So there's definitely something familial about this. But I do think some of you, it's a friend. There's like family sorrow is where like this tree is thriving, it's growing, and like you're the one branch on the tree that like twists in a different way, and the family doesn't like that. They're like, what are you doing? Instead of celebrating that your branch looks all cool and knobby and maybe you grow a different flower or something, the family's like, what the hell, you don't look like the rest of us, what are you doing? And you are meant to be unique. Spirit is saying you are meant to be unique. You are meant to carve a path that nobody else in your line has carved before. And there are going to be people that will love you deeply, have affection for you, and care for you throughout this process, but it might not be family. It might have to be others. Okay. We also have for you the harvest. As the waves of the ocean are infinite, as the trees in the forest grow tall, let my work now bring me to harvest. I am ready to receive my all. I love this. I'm telling you, the hardest of what you've been through is over. The hardest part is over, and you're actually starting to fall into the harvest period where the work that you have already put in, you will reap what you've sown. And so if you don't feel like you have put in the work, this is why I feel like some of you got that message about like you need to be taking more action and you need to give yourself loving discipline and show up for it, because the harvest had so much potential right now. Not everybody. I don't feel like this part of this is for everyone, but those of you that really just didn't give yourself that loving discipline, it's okay. You can do it now and you'll be able to harvest in the future, but your harvest would have been different right now. I feel like, Spirit, I don't like that message. Why are we making people feel bad? Like, I don't like that. I feel like, sorry, I'm just trying to tune in. Okay. Spirit is saying that it's not meant to be a point of shame or feeling bad. It's to remind you that as you go through this next cycle, your harvest will be bigger. It's to remind you that you have the potential to change the outcome. You are the common denominator, and you can change the outcome of the direction you're going in right now. You will get this harvest point. You will. And as you move through this cycle and start a new one, this is like, it's like every action we take does have a consequence, and those can be positive or negative consequences. You know, it's how we decide to view them. And for you, if you were somebody that didn't really put the effort in that you had wanted to, this to me is more about like in the future, you'll get to have it. But this harvest season that you're about to enter is not going to be the way that it will in the future. But the worst of what you've been experiencing is already over, and you are moving into the harvest season. And then we have sensuality, your freedom flowing from far away. I dance, I love, I laugh, I play. This is an invitation. This is an invitation, y'all, to really get in touch with your sensuality, whatever that looks like for you. I know in this reading, we've had a lot of like divine feminine surface, but I want to make it very clear that this doesn't mean that you, this doesn't mean that you have to identify as female. This doesn't mean that you have to be somebody that has a menstrual cycle. You know, this is everyone, everywhere, all at once, everyone betwixt and between. And like, I feel like when I see words like this, sensuality paired with woman, paired with, speaking on all of that, like sister on sister, right? Or having that in your line somewhere, not trusting women. I feel like when I see sensuality, especially with this like water looking goddess, female representing image, I just want to assure you that no matter how you identify, this is still your reading. And Spirit just wanted me to stop for a moment because I think somebody here was questioning a little bit. But get in touch with your sensuality. Get in touch with the divine feminine side of you. You know what's so funny? Everybody has divine feminine and divine masculine energy. Everybody has the yin and yang, no matter how you identify. And what I think is so fascinating to me is when you meet people who identify as male, the ones that are the most in tune with their masculine energy are the ones that are the most in tune with their feminine energy because they're not afraid of it. They're not afraid of it. They don't mind holding it. It's not something to be, that's what this is. The feeling I was getting is like somebody trying to push this away because it feels wrong in some way. I'm telling you, I swear this is like one person that I'm tapping into, but your sensuality is allowed. You're allowed to experience life through the senses. You're allowed to experience life at a slower rate. You're allowed to make room for pleasure, to rest, to receive, to experience more of a cyclical nature about you. And Spirit is saying that if you actually honor that sensuality that your life wants to help you create, that Mama Earth really wants to help you create, you're going to find that life actually moves together so much simpler. And then last but certainly not least, I have the shadow card for you. And what this card tells me is that what we've talked about today is definitely a shadow that you've maybe met before in your life, but this is a shadow that needs tending to, that needs like journaling on, praying on, meditating on, and sitting with and just listening. Because I get the sense that you maybe have tried to change this part of yourself multiple times, and this part of you isn't going to go away. It's something that you are meant to pay homage to, that you are meant to pay attention to. It's the wild internal part of you that maybe doesn't want to commit to discipline, that doesn't want to commit to shining as brightly as you can, that doesn't want to commit to, I almost want to say like stepping more fully into yourself. But the thing is, when we make room for all aspect of self, that is when we become the most ourselves. That is when our whole person shines. And this isn't something about you that's meant to be changed or demonized. It's meant to be listened to and said, okay, I appreciate that you're here. Let me sit with you for a while. And again, I feel like your reading has been so riddly. This reading, I feel like, came out really interestingly. I feel like my human self, my non-channeling self, is feeling some type of way about that, but I'm just going to let this reading be what it is. And I'm going to trust you and your intuition to know what this was for you, because I definitely do not have the answers for every single person here to be able to make it perfect. And that's definitely not what I'm supposed to be doing. So, best of luck out there. Trust your inner witch, trust your intuition, trust your inner wisdom. Remember that witch just means wise. And I love you so much, Pumpkin. Good luck out there. Please do not forget to check out 9 3/4 Tarot. She is absolutely wonderful. Her video is going up the same day as mine. It's going to be all about what your magical powers are. So make sure you watch it. It will be linked down below along with all of her stuff. She is such a wonderful, amazing, beautiful creator. So definitely check her out. Thank you so much to her for collaborating with me on this. And y'all, if you would like more content from me, don't hesitate to check out the Patreon. That is where you get all the extra content from me. We just did a workshop over the Libra new moon. We're doing another one next month. We have an autumn book club that we run. I do put out exclusive pick-a cards over on my Patreon, as well as weekly energy readings, early access to my videos as long as they're not sponsored. And I just love having you there. It's a great community that really supports me getting to do my thing. So if you want more of that, please check it out. If you would like to book me for a personalized birth chart or a tarot reading, those are available to you at KhloeTaylor.com. I will never solicit you. So please know that if you ever get somebody rolling up into your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever, not me, scam account. Their names are always different. I have the @KhloeTaylor official handle. So that is the only place that you can reach me. If you would like to be even more generous and send me a gift or send me a little tip, it is never expected but always appreciated. I have my Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal, and my wish list listed down below for you. I would absolutely love to receive any of that, but again, I don't expect that from you. And last but certainly not least, if you would like to join a place of like-minded individuals where you can chat for free. It's available to you down below our Discord, our community Discord. There's a place to share your art. There's an emotional venting space. There's an uplifting space. There's a challenge space where every month we get together and challenge ourselves to create better habits. It's just honestly a really good time. So the Discord is available to you. It's free. It's on iOS. It's on Android. It's on desktop. Anywhere that you want it, it's available. It's a free app, and the link to join our Discord is down below for you. So I don't know if I already said it, but I'm going to say it again. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. I love you so much, Pumpkin, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. All right, if you chose this symbol, this one actually corresponds to the element of water and what your inner wisdom, because remember the word witch means wise, what your inner wisdom is trying to communicate to you right now, or your your intuition, is trying to communicate to you. We're going to start with some of these tarot cards, and then we have a bunch more cards to get to as well. So first and foremost, we have the Six of Swords, the Ace of Pentacles, Five of Cups. Listen, y'all, if you are hearing this message, you are meant to let go of the past. Whatever you are clinging to right now, it is not serving your highest good to hold on to it. And I say that because the Six of Swords is all about going on the path of initiation. You are being initiated into a new chapter of your life. It's maybe been really hard to let go of the old chapter. And the thing is, you are coming to understand. This reminds me of the book The Alchemist. If y'all have never read it, it's a really good one. The Alchemist is all about this man's quest for basically finding what he calls his treasure. And the whole journey of the book, without saying too much, it's like all about like basically following your own destiny, following your own dream, and doing so to find the richest treasure of them all, which really is just finding yourself, really is just about finding the inner hidden treasure. And that is the journey that you are embarking on. Is it's not about finding the riches of the world, the perfect partner. This, to me, honestly, if you chose this pile, is like the spiritual awakening pile, because oftentimes spiritual awakenings are not this like cushy, cozy time. They are earth shattering sometimes. They are the time period in your life where everything that you thought you had totally figured out, you suddenly are not so sure about anymore. And everything that you had come to understand at that point, it's almost like you got comfortable there, but you're being forced to change. And I feel like you've kind of felt the winds of change for quite some time, but what your inner knowing is telling you is that it's okay to mourn. It's okay to mourn the past. It's okay to have a hard time letting go. Mourning is part of the process. And I always feel like when people talk about the Five of Cups, they always talk about the analogy of like, don't cry over spilled milk. But listen, sometimes that spilled milk is like 3 ounces that you spent forever pumping for your baby, okay? And it's worth crying about because it was hard to get. And I do think when you spill the milk, you need to cry about it, because even that phrase in and of itself, don't cry over spilled milk. Sure, like it's spilled milk, we'll get more milk, don't worry about it, whatever. But the thing is, you still had to work for that. You still had to milk the cow or yourself, because we were going with like breast pumping. I don't know why I thought about that. Maybe some of y'all have been there and done that. But we always try to tell people like, don't cry, hold it in, no, cry about the milk that you spilled, cry about this life that you maybe once had that seemed really great slipping. I don't want to say slipping away, because I do feel like what comes in next is actually going to be so worth it, but it's okay to mourn for that past. And when we actually suppress that, it follows us around and haunts us. So it's actually better to let yourself mourn for that and to accept that you're going through a period right now where you are on a journey of learning more oh my gosh, I was literally about to say learning from life. This says learn from life. You literally got the card that says learn from life. Stop. Wow. So literally you are on this pathway right now where you are meant to be paying more attention to your external environment and how it reflects into the internal environment. And you are going through a growth period. That's basically what I'm getting. But look. Things are not going to be terrible. You also have joy and delight coming up. So this can be a really joyful experience if you are open to letting it be a joyful experience. This doesn't have to be doom and gloom and sadness and mourning for what you had. This, obviously there's a time for that, but I promise you, when you get to that other side of this journey that feels difficult or scary or hard, you're going to come to that Ace of Pentacles moment, which is like receiving a gift, receiving a monetary gift, receiving a physical gift, I don't feel like this is monetary, even though Pentacles do talk about that. I think this is going to be a richness that is beyond what the physical can give. This is going to be like spiritual richness. And you're going to be feeling so much lighter having gone through this. And it's honestly helping you to clear out the things in your life that are not serving. And it's helping you to flow more with life. I mean, gosh, you even picked the water pile with the, the waterfall, the element of water, which I know we like to think that water is very emotional, or which it is. It does correspond to our emotions. But the thing I like to remind y'all is that water literally moves everything. Like even if there's a rock in the way, water will corrode rocks over time and like push a path through them. So water literally is this force that moves, and nothing is ever going to truly block its flow. It will push through. So I do feel like for you, that's like something that you needed to hear is you will push through this. You will make it through this. This is not the thing that is going to end you. And whatever you're going through right now, be it a difficult time, difficult relationships, difficult mindset, maybe you've just like lost a job or changing careers. Like there's something major that you've been going through. You're going to feel so much lighter at the end of this. The process has just been scary and difficult. Now, we also have for you Taurus and Uranus, which is really interesting because in tropical astrology right now, I always specify tropical, even if there are similarities between Vedic and tropical, because I don't look into Vedic to know what the differences always are. So they might be exactly the same. But in tropical astrology, Uranus is actually transiting through Taurus right now, and it has been for quite some time. And with this, it does bring a breakdown in our foundation. It does bring a breakdown in foundation. Structures have to crumble. Things that aren't working have to go. And this coming up personally in your reading, this is about maybe the foundation, like we've been kind of discussing, that you've been living in. It's not the foundation you're meant to carry for life. And Spirit is literally saying, if we didn't break it, you wouldn't be able, like you would never leave. We had to break it because you wouldn't leave. You would stand on this foundation for the rest of your life, and it eventually would be something that wouldn't make you happy. So this was done intentionally and purposefully so that you could move forward in a new way and build a different, more solid, more stable foundation. Then we also have for you, these next few cards are just like little extra things that we're just going to use to divine. I didn't pull them with any specific intention, but we have Wreath, sorrow over a loss. So I do feel like you definitely feel like you've lost something. And Spirit is saying, like, I always think about, like, if I could give you an example, in my own life, if you don't know my story, I have plenty of other episodes of my podcast where I talk about this. If you don't listen to it, Divine Authenticity, it's everywhere online that you listen to podcasts. Some of the episodes get made into videos and get posted on my channel, but something I always like to bring up is by every like milestone in the gaming industry, I had made it. Like, I was getting invited by top brands to go literally across the world and travel on business. I had it in with the game that I played the most. Like, I was in the EA Game Changer program. Now it's called something else, but I was in that program. I, by all of my own metrics as a creator, like 7 years ago, I had made it. And then I became severely depressed, went through my first spiritual awakening, and it changed my life completely. And even when I started growing Kloee Taylor and doing tarot and doing what I do now, there were so many times where I was like, oh, but I lost that career, but I lost the gaming industry, but I lost, I felt like it was such a loss for many years after the fact. And it honestly hasn't been until like recently that sorrow has kind of dissipated. And I've realized, no, I actually really love the position that I'm in now. I'm so much happier and more fulfilled with what I do now. And it's okay to be in that sorrow over a loss that we feel like we'll never get over. But Spirit is telling you that it's okay to have sorrow for the loss. You need to. It's part of a lesson that you need to learn. And then, oh my gosh, look, you also got bouquet, compliments from an admirer. So this is interesting to me because you got wreath and bouquet, which are both very like floral in nature. Number one, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, Spirit is saying if you haven't done this for yourself, please go buy yourself some flowers. Buy yourself some flowers, or if you know of a place where you can pick them yourself, where it's safe for you to do so, go get some wildflowers. Like, Spirit is literally saying that you need to spend some time smelling the roses, smelling the flowers, and paying attention to the beauty that surrounds you and honoring yourself. Compliments from an admirer. This also might be, especially those of you that are single and are like wanting a relationship. Spirit is saying that, oh, this is very specific. One of y'all is going through a divorce right now, and you feel like your foundation is being ripped up because it is, or like a long-term relationship has ended, and this is crushing for you. I promise you, you will recover from this situation. There will be another admirer eventually. Right now, the most important thing you can do for yourself is admire yourself. Spend time with yourself, buy yourself flowers. All those things that your partner didn't originally do for you, you need to start doing them for yourself. That is how you are going to heal through this process and become lighter, and you're going to be able to receive the next partner that is going to be coming for you. So I don't do romance readings very frequently. I'm actually very I think the last pick a card we did was a romance reading, but those are very rare on my channel, and I don't get a lot of messages like that. But for some of y'all, I think it might even just literally be one of you. You're going through a relationship like ending, and you're afraid that you're never going to find better or someone else. You might have even been in this relationship for like 10 years. Like, this could be a relationship that has been so long, but Spirit is ultimately saying that all the signs have been there. All the signs have been there. You have been meant to climb out of this relationship for a very long time, and you just haven't been listening. Like, something that I always want you to note that Spirit is saying, like, I heard the word friendship. If you're ever unsure, notice how you talk or don't talk about your partner to others. And not because I think like, this isn't like, oh, there are some things that shouldn't be sacred in your relationship with you and the person, but most people are happy to share about their partners. Most people are happy to share things, and it's almost like you internally were already judging the situations with your partner. So you don't share a lot about your partner because you're trying to protect them from judgment or yourself from judgment. But ultimately, if you're already having to filter, ask yourself why that is. Because I think there's something there for you about that. Like, again, I'm not saying that Spirit is not trying to tell you that there aren't things that shouldn't have been kept secret or sacred. And like, oh my gosh, me and my bestie talk about this all the time. Like, your friends and family do not have to love your partner. Like, that's not, I know we're getting really into the romance aspect of this right now. We're going to circle back for those of you that's not about that. So just give me a second. But, when it comes to relationships, like your family, your friends do not have to like your partner. It's not about that. Like you shouldn't be putting them to the test for other people. Your partner is for you. However, my thing that I'm trying to get you to recognize is that ask yourself why you try to filter so hard. Like I heard the word friends and filter. Like you don't like to talk about even like, or like you only highlight the good things, or there's like this, it's almost like you safeguard because you kind of already have an internal knowing. Your intuition already knows. You've been knowing for a long time, and you're afraid that if you open up more to others in your life about it, that they're going to also confirm to you what you already know. And that's what the problem is there is more. And it's, you've been holding on to this relationship when you shouldn't have been. Like the writing has been on the wall for a very long time. So if this doesn't apply to you when it comes to romance, like you're not, this is not something you're going to be blindsided by. You've known for a long time. And I also want to assure you that whether it's a divorce, a breakup after a long period of time, please know that you are so accepted and so welcome here. I feel like we throw around the word divorce like now you have to be like an outcast from society because you've been divorced. We look at it like that's this terrible thing or that we've wasted our time. No, still a learning lesson, still something that was part of your life. And divorce is not a dirty word. Like it's not about, oh, if things go wrong, we work on it and that's just how it is. Like sometimes two people were good for each other at one point and then you grow in different directions and you're no longer good for each other, and that's okay. And I just really want to open the door, especially for any of y'all that feel shame around that. There's no room for shame on this channel. We don't do that here. And B, when it comes to the word divorce, it's not a dirty word. It's not a dirty word. It sometimes is a very normal part of families' lives. And it's something that it doesn't have to like mark your life with a tarnish because that has happened. It actually can be like the crowning moment of your life when you take yourself back. So just saying, in any case, if that was not you, the romantic aspect, Spirit is encouraging you to mourn, but also to learn to celebrate a little bit more. I feel like when we see compliments from an admirer, this could be an actual admirer coming forward for you, or this is about needing to take time to admire yourself. Then we have involvement with the law. This is why that's funny that I brought up divorce and marriage, because I think that that's what this is about. Involvement with the law, because if you were married, you do have to get the law involved to get divorced. My husband and I always joke that we love each other so much we got the government involved. But yeah, that's, I feel like, just kind of parroting what I already said. And then the axe, forces working against you. So I do feel like, what kind of forces? That's so interesting. Spirit, I'm going to pull another card for you. What kind? Mule. Someone is extremely stubborn and unwilling to change. Okay. This card is only for those of you that are going through that one person. This feels very personal. This card is very much for the person who I was emphasizing the relationships on. We do have more cards that won't talk about this as well. But with this axe card coming up, forces working against you, and then mule, someone is extremely stubborn and unwilling to change. What this really says to me is you have put a lot into this person. And you, unfortunately, and I'm guilty of this too in my own life, okay? You have put so much thought into this person. You always see and believe the best in them, which is a beautiful quality to have. But here's the thing. Especially if this has been long term, which that's the emphasis that I'm getting. I don't think this is a new relationship. I think this one has been around for a while. They're not going to change. They're not going to change. And if you are thinking about breaking it off, you either need to ask yourself the question of either you're already going through the process, or you need to ask yourself the question, if nothing changed in this direction in my relationship, could I live with that? Because you constantly have been given either false promises, or you've believed that this person will eventually get it and change, and I'm telling you, you're fooling yourself. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news here, but you're fooling yourself. They are not going to change. They are not willing to change. They're stubborn, and you also might be stubborn. And it's not even about like they should change for you. It's more about like you have no idea what that person could become or what they should have become. Like sometimes this works the same in friendships too, where sometimes we think someone should change to make us feel better, or to change us in some way, or to change for the relationship in some way. And sometimes I do think that that is applicable when it comes to like addiction or things like that. Definitely very applicable. But when it comes to somebody's like day to day, you have no idea who they would have become without you. You have no idea if like something that they are or do would serve them down the line. And this is why I always say like we should never force change with people no matter what. Like obviously there are going to be some instances where there are extremes where things need to change. But my point to this is that sometimes that person is not for us long term, and the things that we are insistent that need to change, it's something that serves them long term in their own soul growth and their own soul's path. And you insisting that it needs to be this way to make you comfortable, it's stubborn on both ends. It's stubborn on both ends, and you're going to have a much better time just making a clean break and moving on with your life, because I get the feeling that you've tried for a very long time and it has not. Ask yourself how many times you've brought something to the table and it hasn't changed. It's never going to change. Children, if you're not married, having a baby, getting married, moving out on your own, that's not going to change this person. You might have it in your mind that that is what is going to make them finally change. But the thing is, they're not here to change for you. And again, I'm sorry. I know that that's hard to hear, but I really get the sense that this relationship is just not meant to continue. And okay, those of you that are not in relationships, we also have divine guidance, whispers from beings who shine, let their message be clear and kind. So your inner wisdom is also trying to connect you more with divinity. Maybe you're somebody that has always struggled with your connection with divinity or angels or spirit guides or your spiritual team. Maybe you never had a strong sense of that. Spirit is saying that divine is close by and all you need to do is reach. This is actually something that's going to help increase your faith and make your guides come even closer to you, because you're going to be acting more in honoring yourself. And every time we do that, it is a chance to reconnect to ourselves and reconnect to divinity. We also have safe home. I cast this circle around about safely now, beyond a doubt. Safety now is beyond a doubt. So safe home, this I feel like, I think some of you, especially if you've been in long-term relationships where you've built a home or bought a home with someone, maybe you're also like, you could already be living together in a home. I assume if it's long-term, you probably are. But I do feel like you're worried about this cracking the foundation so hard and unseating you so hard that you will not have safety in your vessel or in your home, no matter what the situation is. If it's not relationship divorce, maybe it's career change, maybe it's being really uncertain about the future. Spirit is literally here assuring you that this is meant to happen. It was divinely guided and brought into you, and things are safe. You are safe. You're not going to be stuck in survival mode. This is actually a good thing. And lastly, we have Get Wild. And this card tells me that This is literally about stepping into your wild, fierce nature. This is about going against the grain of what society has told you you should be. This is about not like getting wild and like going out and partying. It's not that kind of wild. It's literally shifting from like family expectations into your own expectations of yourself. And it's also about redefining what success means to you, because in today's world, especially in the Western world, we've all been sold on this idea that it's luxury cars, luxury apartments, or homes. I mean, who can afford a house right now in this economy? But luxury apartments and like luxury bags. And we've all been sold on this lie that this is what it means to be successful, is to climb the corporate ladder. And you don't have to do that. You do not have to do that. Your success is already inevitable. You just need to decide what success looks like to you. What is your version of success? And know that this is an initiation phase. Once again, you're going through an initiation, but it's going to bring you so much more in touch with who you are and who you came here to be. So that is what your inner witch, your intuition, your inner wisdom is telling you. And I love you so much, Pumpkin. Thank you so much to Platform 9 3/4. I was going to say Platform 9 3/4 to 9 3/4 Tarot for collaborating on this YouTube video with me. Please go and check out her video. It's going to be all about what your powers are, and I'm really excited for you to hear it. I'll put all of her links for everything down below, so please make sure you head over there. If you would like more content from me or to support me as a creator, please consider joining the Patreon. It is the place where basically I'm able to continue to operate as I do because of Patreon. So thank you so much to all those of you that do support the Patreon. I really appreciate you. We have early access to my videos, weekly energy updates, a book club. I've started teaching new moon workshops where you can come and ask me questions about your birth chart, and we can kind of suss out what we should be doing for basically, it's not every single new moon. This last new moon, because of Mercury retrograde, we had some problems, so the event wasn't live, but the event, I still like shot an event and gave content. And the month prior, we sat down and actually did it live together. And it's usually like a really intimate setting as well. There's not usually too many people there. So your questions usually, like, I can't think of anybody who didn't get an answer that talked in the chat. Like, I'm literally there being the resident astrologer, helping you to supercharge your manifestations and get things flowing for you. And it's a good time. It's really cool. I do a workshop every single month. To me, it's like we didn't do it until recently, but I think it's like the most exciting thing in the Patreon. So definitely make sure you join if you want that. And again, it supports me to be able to work the way that I do. So I really would appreciate it. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter. I'm at Kloee Taylor. And if you'd like to book a personalized reading with me, either a birth chart or a tarot card reading, I do have those available to you at KhloeTaylor.com. And if you would like to go an extra mile, I do have my Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal, and my wish list listed down below. I do not expect anything from you, but it is certainly appreciated. And last but certainly not least, if you haven't heard about it, please join the Discord. It's free. It's available on iOS, on Android. It's available on desktop. Anywhere that you want to access it, as long as you've got an internet connection, you can join. It is completely free. And it's literally just our community. We have a community Discord. There's a share your art section. There's a general. There's an emotional venting space. There's a astrology space. There's a witchcraft space. You can just come and talk to like-minded individuals in the community, and it's just really nice. I genuinely am in there chatting with y'all, I would say almost every day. So I would love to have you in there. And that's what I got for you. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. All right, pile number 3. If you chose this symbol, which is also the symbol for air, this is going to be your reading. So what your inner intuition, inner witchin, whatever you want to call it, is trying to convey to you right now. You got the Ace of Swords, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Empress. So what this tells me is that your intuition, you are here to be confirmed to that your idea is going exactly according to plan. Like, literally, this to me states the Ace of Swords says you got an idea. You got an idea of how to do something, how to run something, how to change something. Maybe you're tweaking something in your day-to-day life, or you're like starting a new, like this could literally be anything, any kind of change that you have recently tried to make in your life. This is the confirmation that you are doing it right. Like, we have the Eight of Pentacles and the Empress, which says that you are literally culminating this change. You are making it happen. You are in full alignment to birth this change into being. And the Eight of Pentacles, this card is all about consistency towards that goal. Consistency. You've been laying the foundation. You have been continuously creating. And Spirit is ultimately saying that this is exactly where you're supposed to be. Even if things feel a little hectic in your life right now or scary, some of you I do feel like are feeling that. Spirit wants you to know this is exactly where you are supposed to be. And that doesn't mean that it's the ideal situation. It doesn't mean that you are free from burden or free from worry. Some of you I think actually are, but there are some of you that this feels like unseated or a little chaotic, and Spirit is saying you are exactly where you are supposed to be, because from this, the transformation that is going to come through for you, like what you're going through is going to pay off, is basically what I'm hearing. I'm also hearing that you need to connect more to your divine feminine energy. And I say that because the Empress is all about the divine feminine. And this isn't about whether you identify as male or female. This is, both of us carry that yin and yang. Both of us carry those two opposing forces that help us to balance ourselves, especially during Libra season where we're trying to balance, right? That's what Libra is all about, is being harmonious and balancing the scales. And even if you are someone that is more rooted in your masculine, like, gosh, I can even tell you for myself, I definitely exude a more masculine energy in a lot of the things that I do. But even as we talk about that, you know, I'm somebody that I identify as a cis female. Like, that's, you know, I identify, I was born a woman and I identify as a woman, but that doesn't mean that I don't have that masculine driver in me as well. That's what I'm trying to get to. It's, everybody has it no matter how you identify. It's not an identity thing. We don't even, honestly, I don't even feel like we need to call them masculine or feminine. I feel like if I had other words, we could use those instead. They're just different forms of energy. But the thing I want to point out to you is the side that is more of the, I want to say it's yin. I want to say the divine feminine is the yin and the yang is the masculine. I might be getting it backwards though. But if you're somebody that usually you're always on, you're always going, you're always creating, you're always doing, you're the person that's always like in charge or organized or what have you, Spirit is saying that it's time for you to tap into that divine feminine of resting and receiving. Now, there's still a time period for culmination and creativity and going forward, but Spirit is saying there is going to come a time where you need to kind of take a step back and allow yourself to rest and receive. And we also have for you Earth Magic, and we have Go with the Flow. So this is so funny. I feel like your energy, this gets really into like cyclical being. And if you are somebody that really wants to learn more about like spirituality and like hormone health, like especially if you are somebody that has a menstrual cycle or has had one before. Granted, that's not going to be everybody. I'm not trying to like put this up on a pedestal. I always want to open the conversation for everyone. But I will say, I do feel like this is kind of, especially with the Empress being present, Earth Magic, Go with the Flow, this is giving me very like cyclical in nature, which somebody, a person who menstruates, they are going to have more of this, like, when we talk about that, we have more of this like cyclical way of living, right? In your body. I know this is not going to be for everybody, so please just like bear with me while I speak on this for a moment. But in your body, if you are somebody that menstruates or has at some point in your life menstruated, you have more of a cyclical way of existing, meaning your energy is not the same every single week because your hormones actually shift. And if you're somebody that you're always in your masculine energy, you you're going to have a harder time tapping into the actual, like, almost like superpowers that your hormones give you. When I say that, I mean, it's like, for example, when I'm laughing because I had no idea we were going to be talking about this today. For example, when you are in your summer season or your summer phase, this is when your hormones would take you through ovulation. And scientifically speaking, when you ovulate, your physical features actually change. Like, your face becomes more symmetrical. You become more like, I hesitate to say attractive because like beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but like your physical features change. Even if it's like only a little bit, like you change a little bit, and you also let off like pheromones at that time because your body is trying to like basically find a mate to get pregnant. Like, scientifically speaking, that's what your body is trying to do. So it literally pulls out all the stops to try to make it happen. And this is a time period where, like, during your summer season, you would feel like the king or the queen or the person of the world, right? You would feel like really on top of your game. And then come like the winter season later, a couple weeks later. Now, this is obviously going off of the idea that you would have a 28-day cycle. I also want to make room for everybody in this conversation and the fact that, like, I sometimes only have a cycle once every 9 months. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. Speaking just so I can get the information out, I am going off of a 28-day cycle, but this kind of information, like, it's going to vary from person to person. So just take what I'm saying with having that knowledge. But when you get to your like winter season, that's when you actually would be bleeding or menstruating. And when that is happening, you might want to spend more downtime with yourself. You're not really looking to manage a bunch of projects and be running around. Like, basically, to me, the summer phase is almost more masculine because it's the time period where we are maybe batching content if you're a creator, or you're really nailing down your work tasks or things like that. And then come winter, we need to slow down a little bit, right? Now, granted, we live in a society where we don't honor that cycle for anybody that goes through that. We tell everybody that they have to be at the same level as everybody else all the time, productivity wise. And the masculine energy, like, counterforce of this is go, do, be every single day, right? The energy cycle is literally, it repeats every 24 hours. It's not 28 days long. And what I'm getting here for you is, as you get in touch with your divine feminine, and now that I've kind of explained all of that to you, as you get in touch with your divine feminine energy, no matter how you identify, I do feel like the hormone bit that kind of came out here was a little bit important for some of you to hear about. I know that, again, it's not for everybody, but getting in touch with your divine feminine energy, you don't have to be a menstruator to do that. You don't have to be somebody that experiences that to do that, or has ever experienced it to do that. You can just try to make your life more cyclical by, eating seasonally. You can slow down at certain points throughout your month where you can make more space. You can tap into those rhythms. You don't have to be getting up at the top of every day and charging through every single day, expecting that your energy is going to show up the same every day, because no matter what kinds of energies or hormones are raging through you, nobody is meant to do that. Nobody is meant to get up and do the same thing on repeat every single day. It makes us crazy, right? I don't even really like the word crazy because I think it implies like actual like mental insanity. It's not that it makes us crazy, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it leads to burnout. it leads to us not feeling like we're living fulfilled lives. And so what you're being asked to do here by your intuition or your inner knowing, your inner wisdom, is you're being asked to open yourself up more to understanding these principles and to also going with the flow, letting yourself flow more, not stressing if everything doesn't get done in a day, not stressing the deadlines, not stressing and I know easier said than done, but something that your inner knowing wants you to know is you're not supposed to live like this. You are not supposed to live being on every 24 hours. You are meant to be more cyclical. And if that means you have to start cultivating steps to change your life to honor that more, this is your sign. And we also have the moon. This is one of the reasons I knew that I needed to talk about the hormone health stuff, because I am getting a lot of divine feminine, like, the moon also like corresponds to the menstrual cycle and the divine feminine. So does the Empress. So does Mother Earth with Earth magic. So does the flow. Virgo, we also have here, which Virgo, in my humble opinion, Virgo as like an archetype, even though they are the sovereign, the virgin, to me, they are truly like Mother Earth. Like they are the caretakers of Mother Earth. They are the earth sign, and they are one, I want to say they are, no, they're not one of, like, there are like the Gemini twins. There is like the warrior, but I do feel that, they're one of like, not every astrological sign is human in nature, right? And I do feel like Virgo is one of like the most human representations that we have. So the Earth Mother, though. And with the moon and Virgo showing up here, this is like you're being overly hypercritical of yourself and what you haven't been able to accomplish. And this is really a callback. This pile, if you chose this pile and it's not resonating, I would highly encourage you to pick a different one, because I feel like this pile is very specific. And I feel like pile number 2 had a lot of specificity to it as well, but it was a little more open focus. This one has a very specific focus. It is very narrowed down. And I try not to make a lot of those narrowed strokes with my readings, but sometimes when the channel comes through, you just can't really help it. Like, I can't, not every pile is for every single person. So, and I'm saying that more for myself, I think, than anybody else. But with Virgo and the moon, this to me is, again, overanalyzing the things that are meant to be more in flow, that aren't meant to fit in a perfectly curated box. Because Virgo, though we love Virgo energy, if you didn't know, this channel is a Virgo stan channel, okay? We love Virgo energy when it enters the chat, but Virgo does have this ability to be very hypercritical of themselves, and in turn, they will criticize others, because often what we feel about others also reflects within ourselves. As hard as we are on others, we will be hard on ourselves too. And in order to move more into this flow-like way of being, we need to honor more of the parts of ourselves that we really love, more of the parts of ourselves where we are caring for ourselves, less of the critical thinking and over-analyzing, more of the getting into the body and giving proper self-care. Now, these next few cards we have are literally just cards that I didn't like pull them with a specific intention. I pulled them with just like, Spirit, give us what we need to hear. This is so interesting. So you have chair filled, someone new is entering your life, but you also have chair empty, someone is leaving your life. So this is interesting because I don't think this is actually a person. Excuse me, let me get a little sip of water. I think this is you. A past version of yourself is leaving your life, and a new version and a new way of being is showing up for you. And so, this is, y'all, I just heard from Spirit that some of y'all, if you have like a deity or a matron or a patron or a god or goddess that you work with, there might be somebody exiting and like shifting away from you because there is a new deity that is coming through. Now, if you don't work with deities, like don't worry about that. But some of y'all, maybe you felt that their presence hasn't really been here, and it's because you're getting a new one. So there are going to be signs and synchronicities for a new deity to come through that's going to help you on this journey. And I also feel that this is you showing up in a new way in your life. We also have beware of greed and casket. Someone going out of your life or the end of a situation. Interesting. You literally got 2 cards that talked about someone exiting your life. Now, I do not agree with making predictions about death. I don't think any responsible tarot card reader does that. I just think that that's something that I would never, I don't work in those kinds of predictions. Like Spirit knows better than to give me that kind of prediction because I don't, I just don't think that that's something that any tarot card reader should be making big, like broad strokes about. But what I will say is when we think about, something going out of your life or the end of a situation, it's not casket like death. It's literally something is being removed. And I think it is this past way of really not treating yourself with the respect that you deserve, because you have been dreaming and scheming about a life of ease, about a life of feeling more enriched, more called. And Spirit is saying to you that if you actually put intention towards this, which it seems like you have been, because like I said, we had that Ace of Swords come out, the Eight of Pentacles, you've been putting intention towards shifting this. I also get the sense that you had to be made really uncomfortable so that you would change. And pile number 2 got a lot of this too. These piles might be linked actually. Pile number 2 got a lot of this in their reading as well, that they were not going to change unless they were forced to change. And so maybe you've been through a lot as this old version of yourself is melting away, as somebody in your life that you've had to let go. Maybe that was really hard to do that, but because you did it, you actually honored yourself and honored the person you are in your own cyclical nature, your own divine feminine energy. And Spirit is saying that only newness is going to be born from this. Only newness. You're going to be feeling so much more grounded in the present, so much more of yourself. And I like that we got beware of greed here, which is so interesting to me. I feel like you're also afraid. Those of you that really feel like you have to be in your divine masculine all the time, always like producing, making, working really hard, doing it all. You're like somebody that always feels like you have to do it all. And Spirit is ultimately saying that you're afraid that if you actually try to give yourself rest and allow yourself to just receive, you're afraid that you will become a greedy individual. Like people have implanted it in your mind that if you take a handout from the universe, that makes you greedy or bad. Nothing tickles my Twinkies, okay? That's a new one. Nothing tickles my Twinkies like when somebody like wants to put personification on wealth or money or receiving good things. First of all, who gives a damn if you receive something by way of handout? Why have we demonized that in society? Why have we decided that only some people are deserving of certain things? And if you take something for free, you're a terrible person because you didn't work for it. When in reality, nobody knows your story. Nobody knows what you've been through. Maybe you worked for it energetically in a different way. And like the universe is just trying to give to you. It's like we've demonized this idea that we should be given anything. This is why so many of us feel like we're not worthy when we receive something really awesome in our life. And You're afraid that people are going to perceive you or criticize you as being a greedy person because you're no longer willing to work as hard as you have. And let them think that. Let them be bitter Bettys. Let them. What they think of you is none of your concern. And as long as you are rested and protected, that should be your number one priority. Let people think you're a greedy pig. Let them. Because if there's one thing I know in this life for sure, you can't control how other people perceive you. You might think that you can by trying to like people please, because I hate to say this, but it is the truth. When we people please, it is a manipulation tactic. It is manipulative because we are trying to shift the way that somebody thinks or sees us. And it's a form of manipulation. Even if we think we're doing a really good thing, it's not good. Ultimately, it's not good. It ends up hurting us. And then we also feel stressed out, like we have to keep up with it. And you don't need to, you can't control it anyway. You could try to do everything you could to get someone to feel a certain way about you. But ultimately, they could still choose to think you're the worst person on the face of the planet. They could still think that you are like, also, a lot of people now, I feel like especially, I don't know if it's because our consciousness has risen on the planet, but a lot of us have bullshit meters now that are off the charts. Like, even if you tried, it wouldn't matter because the energy is going to come through anyways. And even in my own life, I've experienced this. I've had people that I was friends with that I felt like, oh, we're such a match made in heaven. This is so perfect. And like, oh, we're going to be best friends for life. And then like a couple of years in, I realized that no, actually, a lot of the things that they sold me on as a person was all people pleasing. It was all a facade, and they're actually not the person that they said they were. And that's also a letdown for the receiving party that thinks that like the person that they're searching for is finally here in front of them. It's not your job to be that person for them. And number one, it's not your job. And number two, again, you can't control how people see you. As much as you want to, you can't. People are always going to think what they want. And if you're afraid of this, all I can say is people are going to think what they want anyway. Just do what you got to do for you. Then we also have wisdom. On a Wednesday with a waxing moon, let wisdom come and be renewed. So through this experience, you're also going to gain so much wisdom, and you're also way more wise beyond what you are giving yourself credit for. I feel like you always play this role in your life of like, oh, I don't know, like, I don't know, like, teach me everything. I don't know. I'm a beginner. You're not a beginner. You're not a beginner. You're actually quite wise. You know exactly what you're doing. Excuse me. You know exactly what you're doing, and just let yourself be your guide. I know as like a tarot card reader, I'm not supposed to say these things, but even with coming to this reading, like, I know not everybody wants to do this for themselves. So obviously, like, that's great that I get to sit here and do this. There is no difference between me and you. Like, you could sit down with a deck of tarot cards and get answers for yourself. There is no difference between me and you. You have so much wisdom, and your intuition is trying to tell you that. Like, maybe it's time you go pick up a tarot deck. Maybe it's, I know, like, business wise, that's one of those things that, like, I'm not supposed to be like, oh yeah, you can just do it too. But honestly, if I was out of a job and everybody was believing in themselves and their abilities, it would be a job well done. So I don't look at my career field that way. I don't think that I'm special or I'm set apart or I'm the only person with psychic gift. I think everybody has those things. And you're being called through the divine feminine to embrace your own inner wisdom. You are wise. You didn't need this video to tell you that. And psychic protection, I also feel like if that is really hitting for y'all, there's some fear. Like, you might even be somebody who used to be afraid of tarot cards or like afraid of spirituality. And spirit is saying that even if you just tried to attempt, you have protection. You have protection, and you will be like, it might even be something that's in your ancestry to like do and participate in. But The other thing that's coming through with wisdom is I heard body. And I say this a lot on my channel, but your body holds so much wisdom. Your body holds so much wisdom. It holds all of your past traumas. It holds all of your inner deep knowings. It holds all of your shadows. It holds all of your light. It holds everything. And because of that, our bodies are also wise. And even through our own body and working with it, we can learn so much about ourselves. So let your body also be your wisdom. Even as we talked about like the menstrual cycle, cycling, if that's something that you are into. I think I have a podcast episode coming up about that. We've talked about hormone health on my podcast before, but I have another episode coming out soon where I dive in a little bit more into that. But I know, again, that's not for everybody that's here, but let your body be your guide into this. Trust that inner knowing. And lastly, we have connect to heart. And what this tells me is that it's time for you to start leading a more heart-centered life. Asking yourself the question of, do I love this? Does this make me happy? Is my future self going to appreciate what I'm doing right now? And connecting more to the heart. I feel like the heart is also like the inner child to a degree. And so this is also about inviting in more fun, more rest, more ease, more play, letting things flow a little bit easier. When you connect to the heart and ask yourself how you feel before doing something, you will always get an answer. Promise. Connect to the heart. And do I have the book out here? I think I do. Do I? I just wanted to pull the book on this card just to see if there's anything that I'm missing here. I feel like these cards are just, Threads of Fate is always so good. That's who makes this deck in the middle here. Let's see. Connect to the Heart is page 78, which I think is number 15, which corresponds down to a 6. Connect to the heart. Okay. This card asks you to connect to the heart space. This is a place of bravery, integration, vulnerability, and compassion. This may mean pushing past any fear you may have and opening up to true connection. This may mean finding forgiveness or empathy. This may mean softening. There it is. The softening. I feel like the divine feminine energy, it's very soft. It's meant to soften you. Most of us have layers of defense mechanisms around our heart that prevent us from being present, from receiving love and giving love. This card asks you to examine what armor you can let go of and where you can nurture yourself in this space. So that is what I have for you, pile number 3. I hope this reading helps you out. I hope you'll trust your intuition, and I hope you'll check out 9 3/4 Tarot as well, who this collaboration is with. She is going to tell you all about your powers, and I really hope that you will enjoy her channel. I love her so much. Her work is phenomenal. She's a really wonderful intuitive reader, and I'll put all of her links down below for you. And if you would like to support the work that I do here, please, y'all, come and join my Patreon. I put workshops together every single month. Sometimes they're live, sometimes they're recorded, but during the live ones, you can ask me questions about your birth chart. I help you to supercharge your manifestations, and we just do really beautiful things over there. I also have extra pick-a-cards over there that you can't get anywhere else. They're only on Patreon. We do a weekly energy reading with tarot cards every single week. So you can see what's going on in the astrals and with the tarot with spirit every week before you even get started on your week. We also have a card of the month, a book club, and am I forgetting anything? I think there's some other stuff too, but in any case, I love the Patreon. I genuinely feel, I'm not just saying this to say it, I genuinely feel like my Patreon is worth it. Like, I have definitely been a part of many Patreons over the course of my time online, and I really do feel like my Patreon gets a lot. I feel like it is completely worth it. And even if you're not there for the content, just know that like anything you put towards that, it actually really does support me as a creator. So if you want to help, I really appreciate it. If not, I also have my Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal listed down below for you. I do accept tips for my readings, but never an expectation appreciation, of course. I also have my wish list if you would like to send me a little Halloween gift. But again, I don't expect that from you. Just know that it's there if you decide that you would like to. And I also have my Instagram, my TikTok, my Twitter. I'm at Kloee Taylor everywhere around the web. I have my website, KhloeTaylor.com. If you would like to book a personal birth chart reading with me or tarot card reading, that's the only place that you can book. I will never solicit you outside of my own videos here right now. And last but certainly not least, I also have our Discord, our community Discord. If you would like to join like-minded individuals on Discord, it's completely free. It's on iOS, it's on Android, it's on desktop. I love our community there. It's literally just our community. We have a community Discord, and you can chat in like the witchcraft space, the astrology space. You can chat in the general space. There's a food place, a pet pictures place. There's a space to introduce yourself. I literally check the Discord almost every day, and I do talk to y'all in there. It's like all just like a bunch of chats if you've never used Discord. It's really fun. I love the community that we have, and we have such like a supportive group. I think there's almost 1,000 of us now on Discord, so definitely come and join in. Like I said, it really is completely free. That's not like a marketing thing. It really is free to come in and be a part of the community. And it's literally just a place where I wanted like-minded individuals to be able to come and hang out. So that's what it is for. And I would love to have you. Link down below for that. And please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye. All right, y'all, if you chose this pile, this is the pile that also the symbol corresponds to the element of fire. And what your inner knowing, your intuition, your inner witch, your inner wisdom wants you to know is that right now you are, I feel that like I honestly am getting, especially with the star and the Page of Pentacles, I want you to just pay attention to the imagery of these cards for a moment. Because number one, we have the Page of Pentacles here at this crossroads. He's literally standing at a crossroad between continuing on this way or going that way towards the tower. And if you look here at the star, we also have these two hands, right? These two, one is flowing down into the earth or into the water, one is up into the astrals. And I feel like you are being asked to possibly be making a difficult decision. And Spirit is saying what you need to do is ask yourself what is going to bring you more joy. Even if one path that you are being faced with right now is going to take longer. Is there something that future you will be able to avoid if you take this path? I ask you that because this path, this way on this card, leads to a tower. And what do we know about the tower in tarot? That is usually ultimate destruction. So you're being told that basically you can avoid this tower moment. You don't have to go down that path. It's really important that you get in tune with your inner wisdom. It's good that you're here because I'm going to help you know how to avoid this tower moment and how to go down the path that is going to be more in alignment with you. So I also feel like it might, I know we're getting this with a Four of Wands, which is the card of like celebration, but I do feel like sometimes if there is like too much of a premature celebration, we get ahead of ourselves. And it's almost like counting your chickens before the eggs hatch. Like you don't know what's going to be a chicken and what's not. What's just going to be the egg, right? You don't, I mean, they're all technically eggs, but you get what I'm saying. Like it's celebrating too early when you don't know just yet. So your inner wisdom is telling you, like, don't get me wrong, celebrate, manifest, okay? But also know that you still have some decisions to make. And also the star is truly the card of authenticity. It is my favorite card in the tarot. And this card is all about authenticity, following your own authentic path and knowing what is in alignment for you and which way to go because you're trusting that. So let's go ahead and see what it is that you need to do about this decision. And I'm not really getting a lot of hints on what this decision is about yet, but let's see what we need to do in order to align with the highest, like the best and for your highest good, like possible outcome. So we have speak your mind. And we have meditate to dig deep. So what these say to me, the speak your mind card, literally, if there's somebody you need to talk to, if there is something like an elephant in the room with somebody else that you need to address, Spirit is asking you to address this. Spirit is asking you not to stay in the shadows with your feelings. You need to speak your mind to somebody. Don't just continue to avoid the subject. And I say that because maybe there's a conversation that you haven't been wanting to have. And it might be one, oh gosh, I wonder, a few of the readings today have been a little connected to pile two. So I would encourage you, if you have been struggling in your romantic partnership, please possibly give pile two a listen. Only if you feel called to it though. If you didn't initially feel called to it, it's not for you. But if you did, like if you were having a hard time deciding between 2 and 4, or that the symbol for water or the symbol for fire here, please make sure that you actually, or was it air? No, I think it was the symbol for, I've been reading this. I've been doing this pick a card slowly throughout the day. So I apologize if I'm getting them mixed up, but I'm pretty sure it was the symbol for water that it was pile number 2, the symbol for water. But what this is saying to me is, number one, if your intuition was telling you possibly that one, definitely go back and listen to it. But if this is about a relationship, a romantic connection, one that maybe you don't feel like has been serving your highest good as of late, you need to speak your mind to this person. And maybe you've done that before. You maybe have spoken your mind to this person before. In this pile, what's so interesting, if that is you and you end up going and listening to pile number 2, I'm going to tell you right now, all roads are going to lead to that destruction. If you do not have the hard conversation now, it's like you're going to save yourself a lot of grief instead of having to take the roundabout way to something falling apart that needs to fall apart. Now, if it's not about romance for you, I also feel like there is just a conversation that you have put off. And I say that because I do see the element of air here. Air is all about our communication and how we communicate with each other. And it deals with like our mental intellect as well. Like you've had something on your mind and you haven't been dealing with it head on because you're afraid. And that fear is very valid. Your feelings are extremely valid, but it is time to come clean about this thing, whether it is with a friend, a significant other, a family member. It's time to start putting down the boundaries and moving in a way that honors your authentic self. If this is romantic for you, this is going to be hard for, again, please, if you didn't feel called to that pile number 2, then know that this is not your message. This is only those people that felt called to both. Because that pile talked a lot about a breakup and like a situation where you needed to separate from your romantic partner, which I don't get a lot of readings like that. But with this reading, Spirit is really saying if you felt called to that, gosh, I almost feel like I need to put a note in that pile that you also need to listen to pile number 4 if you listen to pile number 2. But your partner, if you have been feeling like things have been off, they have literally been stunting your growth. Like you stay where you stay because of them. You are not allowing yourself to expand and be your own authentic version of yourself. And it's time that you open up to letting life become more, because you've kept yourself small and you haven't even realized it. You've kept yourself small. You've kept yourself in this situation and you've really let your dreams kind of slip between the cracks to be something for this person. And you put so much of yourself and your energy into this relationship and into understanding. They don't even give you 10% of that back. And it's not that everything always has to be 50-50. Like, I really do believe that in relationships, every day it looks different. Some days one person is giving 80 and somebody's giving 20, but on another day that person could be giving 90 and you could be giving 10. Like, there always has to be fluctuation. It's never going to be 50-50 in my opinion, because we show up as different people every day with the level of energy that we have based on the like day previous that we've had. But my point to bringing that up is like, you have really been kept from your authentic path, and you really don't have anyone to blame but yourself, in the sense that you have let yourself really hold yourself back. This, again, this is not everybody's message. I'm going to circle back to everybody else. This might be literally for like one person that keeps coming through in today's reading with pile 2 and then 4. But, this is something that your inner knowing has already told you. Like, you've known, and you have had that thought of, am I fooling myself? Am I kidding myself? And I'm telling you that you are. And it's time to have the hard conversation that maybe you have not wanted to have. And if that is not you, if this is not romantic, you feel like your relationship is in a good place, you're not concerned about that, Spirit is saying that there is still a conversation that needs to be had with someone in your life. It could be a father figure. I'm seeing with this like girl, and then there's like somebody that looks like an older masculine figure. It could be a father figure, a grandfather figure. It also could be both. It could be like, this also could be like your partner, whether, no matter how they identify. But there is definitely something here about like, oh, look, they're even holding these dandelions. Dandelions are in magical practice. They are known for wishes, like granting wishes. And that's so interesting to me that you would get something about your authentic path and like making your own dreams come true. And it's almost like you've put all of your wishes in the wrong place. Or like they've done the same. Like, there is definitely a confusion here. And that's super normal for the astrological transit we're in right now. If you're watching this when it's going live, we're in Libra season. We have a lot of retrogrades. Relationships are definitely kind of messy right now. So a lot of people are experiencing this. This is not like just singular to you, but there definitely is like a misalignment of wishes, and we need to get back on the same page. So we also have the astrological sign of Capricorn here, and the 10th house being represented, which this also to me is about career moves. Okay. So you definitely are needing to go your own way when it comes to career. If you're in some kind of business partnership, this also might be the time where you and your partner kind of split, or you have to come to new agreements with how you're going to be running things. I also am hearing from Spirit that with Capricorn here, Capricorn also represents, it represents the father. It's ruled by Saturn. Saturn is the father, unless you're ruled by Daddy Jupiter like myself. But Saturn is like the father figure in our life. And so that's interesting to me that that would come out again, if this is something between you and your father, or a father figure in your life. But your inner knowing is saying that you also, you're really stressed about your career. I'm hearing like, for some, if it's not relational, some of y'all are also just really stressed. Oh, this could be a conversation between you and your boss as well, if you have a boss. But some of y'all are also just really stressed about like your future and your career. And it's like, you don't believe in your ability to create more for yourself, whether that is working for somebody else or working on your own. And Spirit has brought you here to this reading because you can carve your own path. You can take the path that is less trodden, and you can make the decision to go the other way, basically. We also have this meditate to dig deep, which I didn't talk about. And I love these little amethyst pieces here. Some of y'all might be like really loving amethyst. You might be somebody that's a February birthday, which February is the amethyst birthstone. But I just think that's funny that that showed up there. But meditation to dig deep, I really feel like if you feel called to it, doing some meditation while you're outside is going to be really impactful and powerful for connecting to your authentic path. And these next few cards I have are all, these are just like not extras, but I didn't really have an intention with pulling them. So we're just going to see what comes out. We have Quill, get back to the basics. This to me is like if you feel like your life has been kind of not in alignment, you need to get back to literally the basics, feeding yourself, moving your body, feeding your mind, get invested in a book or an audiobook or a podcast. Something that gets you in touch with what you consider the basics to be. I always say that when you're feeling really low or like downtrodden or things aren't working well for you, I always say, treat yourself like a precious baby. Like, imagine that you are literally a baby and treat yourself like a precious baby. Treat yourself like a precious baby. Feed yourself comforting foods. Watch comfort movies. Roll yourself up in a blankie. Do what feels really good to you. Do what you would do for a baby if you needed to soothe them. And get that to me is like getting back to the basics. Then we have dog close up, pleasure with a close friend. So this is also your sign. If your friends, like, you need to spend some time with friends, quality time. And this to me actually is not virtual. I know in today's world with everything that has gone on since 2020, a lot of us are doing virtual things. I myself still do a lot of virtual things. My whole life is on the internet. Like that's definitely my area. But when I see pleasure with a close friend close up, it's time to book the vacation. It's time to, if they are local, it's time to call them up and say, hey, if you're somebody that is really afraid with like COVID and stuff, which is totally understandable, both of you take a test and meet together where you can. If it's about traveling and you're not quite ready for that, at least start looking at the tickets, start planning the vacation, start asking to see if the person has space for you. I feel like this is definitely something about like, you just haven't been close to the friend recently. And I feel like this is about getting together in person. So Spirit is saying that this is going to lift your spirits. It's going to make you believe in yourself again. And you just need to pull yourself out of the reality that you've been sitting in and go elsewhere. Like I said, if it's in town, go somewhere else in town. Go to a friend's house in town. Leave the environment that you're in. Go for a walk outside if that feels better with a friend. Plan the trip if your friends are far away. Start, like, even if it's 8 months away, plan the trip now and know that 8 month, like, that can give you something to really strive for right now. Then we have Sun, happiness and well-being. So again, this is all about prioritizing yourself, prioritizing your happiness, prioritizing your joy, getting back to the basics. And then we have Carriage, a journey either physical or mental. And literally, that's what you're doing right now. You're on a journey that is either physical or mental. And I think it's more on the mental side of things, considering all of the stuff we've talked about. But you're definitely going through something right now where change is necessary. And your life is going to be different once you make this decision that you need to make, once you start to own your authenticity and have the hard conversation, as well as like, I feel like it's what is that book? Don't get me wrong, I'm not here for like toxic perfectionism, but the Success Principles, I think is what it's called, by Jack Canfield. This is a book that the very first principle is about taking responsibility for your life. And you could definitely say that in some instances, when we take responsibility for our life, it sounds terrifying. There are some things that simply are not our fault. When really bad things happen to us or people that are close to us, doesn't necessarily mean that we deserved that or that it was our fault, but take stock of where your life is right now And if you're not satisfied, if you're not happy with the direction things have been going, I want you to know that your life is in your hands. You can take full responsibility for where you are right now, and you can decide to change it. And I say that because, don't get me wrong, if you are sitting in victim mentality, you need to let yourself have that. I know we demonize the victim mentality a lot, but I am never a person that's going to do that. I think the victim mentality is valuable. I think we all go through it. And you need to let yourself be a victim before you can become the hero. But I am here to remind you that nobody's coming to save you. You are the only person that has the ability to make the decisions to take responsibility and change your situation. And you can get help along the way. I always encourage, speak to a therapist, speak to somebody who can help. There are tools and things that you can learn along the way to help you. But ultimately, nobody is going to roll up and just be like, yo, I'm here to fix your whole life. That's on you. You have to take responsibility for that journey. And you are on a journey where you are meant to be going to that next version of you. And there's been a lot within this reading about that in general, just like going through a lot to get back to your authentic self. Now, we also have for you the card of good cheer that says, with a kind heart and humor free, may good cheer rule, so mote it be. So this is also your sign that happiness is going to come back around. If you have not been feeling happy, if a lot of things have been feeling scary or uncertain, or like, happiness is going to circle back around, promise. And then we also have love. Aphrodite, I call to thee to bring a true love here to me. So that those of you that need to go back and listen to pile number 2, please know that you're not unlovable. Please know that somebody is out there for you. You may even feel called to work with the goddess Aphrodite. Aphrodite is my matron. Like, I work with her continuously. She is somebody I honor throughout and have honored throughout my life. Even before I knew what deity work was, I was doing deity work with Aphrodite. So that's like how far it dates back. I don't even remember my life without this goddess. I definitely really enjoy her presence. And I do believe that those of you who seek her out, she will show up. But the other thing is that your life also, you're learning about love, every facet of what that means. There's messy love, there's friendship love, there's familial love, there's heartbreak, which is still love in another form. There's love that you have to give to yourself. There's love, that's honestly, I feel like that is the one continuous truth in this world is, and I think Leor Alexandra actually recently said this too, is that love is the one continuous truth. Love is the thing we can always return to, whether it is for ourselves, for someone else, for a situation. Love is the one continuous truth that you can always count on. And I believe that a lot of us in today's world came into this world with our heart wide open. I think actually everybody comes into this world with their heart wide open. And it's the lens that society chooses to put over us that it makes us close more and more and more and more. And you don't have to close off. You are allowed to remain soft and open, even in a world that tries to demonize that practice, because love is the one consistent that you can always return to. If you can't rely on anyone or anything, know that love is always the answer. Truly. Let that one sink in. And actually, this reading I put together with the intention of love. Like, we have rose quartz up here in the corner, which is the crystal for, I always use it for self-love personally. And our candle, which I didn't talk about this in any of the other piles, our candle up there on the right is actually a candle for Aphrodite. Like, it's, I usually have it on my altar, and I brought it to the reading today. So that's funny that she would come up. But in any case, the last card I have for you is the Explorer. And literally, it's a compass, and there's a heart and an eye. And I think it's funny that we're talking about exploring all these different facets of love and what it means to love and be loved, and also lose love, what it means to honor ourselves. What, like, you literally got romantic, you got friendship, and you got familial, and I would say you can also have love for your career, but I feel like, oh, did I say self-love as well? You got like so much about love in your reading and how you are transmuting your life through relationships. You might actually learn the most through relationships. Some people learn through like career or experience or inventing or writing. You definitely learn so much through your relationships. They teach you a lot about life. But you are meant to explore in a new way coming up on your journey. And so, unfortunately, not everybody is going to be able to come with you. Not everybody is going to be able to honor your path the way that you need to honor it. And that's okay. It's okay if some people have to be let go along the way. And maybe if you have this speaking your mind conversation that you need to have, that your inner wisdom knows that you need to have, this could be the turning point for you. This could be the point at which this person sees things differently. Not that you need to change them, but maybe this is like they didn't even know how you felt, you know? So, in any case, I hope this reading reaches you well, pile number 4. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure you check out 9 3/4 Tarot, Carissa. She is a wonderful creator here on YouTube. I'll put all of her links down below so that you can watch what she creates everywhere around the web. Thank you so much to her for collaborating with me on this video. If you go and watch her video, make sure you tell her that I sent you. And her video is all about what your power is, what power you have. So definitely go and check it out. And if you would like to support me more, please, please, please consider joining the Patreon. It is such a great way to support me. You get a bunch of extra content for doing it as well. We have a book club. We have workshops where every month I sit down and I talk to you about how the astrology is affecting you based on your birth chart. When we do them live, which we do them live some of the time, you can also ask me questions about your birth chart in real time and I can help you with that stuff. And on top of that, it's just a really good, like, it's a good way to support anyone, like anyone that you know that is a creator that has a Patreon. It is a more consistent way of supporting a creator versus the creator just relying on like AdSense or what have you. So if you would like to support me in everything that I do here, I would certainly appreciate you checking out the Patreon. There's more than even just what I talked about right now over there. And I would just love to have you there. And if you would like to do even more, no pressure, of course, never expected, always appreciated. I have my Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal listed down below, as well as my wish list if you'd like to send me a little Halloween gift. But again, never expected, always appreciated. And if you would like to book a birth chart reading with me or a personal tarot card reading with me, you can do so at my website, KloeTaylor.com. And I would love to read for you your birth chart or a tarot reading. And I feel like I'm forgetting to tell you, oh, the Discord. If you would like to be part of a community of like-minded individuals, please make sure you come to the Discord. It's free. It's available on iOS, Android, desktop, Mac, PC, everything. You can go to it anywhere. It's free. And we have a community Discord that has a witch section. There's an astrology section, your pet pictures, introduce yourself, a general chat, an emotional venting space. Anything that you feel like you might need in the community, we have got it. So just come and hang out with us. It's a good time. The Discord's really fun. We have, I think, almost 1,000 members now, and it really is completely free. Like, this is not me trying to like sell you on something. It's genuinely a free platform and anybody can join. And I spend time in there almost every day talking to y'all. So I'd love to have you there. And please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you in the next one.